Congratulations, Miss Sue. Your permanent residency in Finland has been approved. Would you like to keep your domestic ID? At the staff member's question, I shook my head and replied firmly, no. Please cancel it. The staff member reminded me, Miss Sue, let me clarify something for you. Once the cancellation process starts, all your past information and records will be erased. The result is irreversible. If you're sure you want to cancel, please sign here. He handed over a cancellation application form. Sophia Sue didn't hesitate, she signed her name directly. She drove aimlessly around the city until night fell and the streetlights came on. Only then did Sophia steer her car into the downtown area. On the giant billboard at the World Trade Center, a trailer for the recently popular celebrity couple variety show was playing. She stopped at a red light, just as the clip of Noah Goo's famous love chase moment aired. The footage was from the Architecture Awards night. Noah Goo, not yet 30, had won the top award. But instead of joy at this highlight moment, he looked anxious and hurried off stage. Reporters at the scene were live streaming and pressed him. Why was he leaving in such a rush? Faced with the camera, he looked slightly surprised, then said shyly, I'm going to propose today. She's always punctual. If I'm late and the proposal fails, that would be a disaster. There will be countless more Architecture Awards nights, but there's only one chance to propose. What kind of fairy tale love is this? I'm obsessed. On the screen, Noah Goo's eyes were determined and his words were resolute. Two girls standing by the street clasped their hands together, their faces filled with sang-woo and excitement. Noah Goo must be head over heels for Sophia Sue. This is the Architecture Awards night, so many industry leaders were there and he just left like that. That's nothing. The romantic things Noah Goo has done for Sophia Sue are countless. He first saw her at a fashion show when he was 19, and ever since he's attended every show she's walked in. When she said she liked emeralds, he spent 700 million yuan at an auction to buy a full set of emerald jewelry, just to make her smile. And they weren't even a couple back then. It made so many netizens jealous. How can there be such a perfect man in the world? The honking of a car horn from behind jolted Sophia back to her senses. The light had turned green. She drove away, glancing at the two girls' backs in the rearview mirror. The light inside the car was dim, casting shadows over her unreadable expression. A cold laugh tugged at her lips. Maybe marriage really is the grave of love. Once you have it, it's just ordinary. This man who had promised to love her for a lifetime had finally broken his oath. He was living a double life, keeping a red rose while clinging to his white rose. In an online poll asking, who is your ideal model husband? Noah Goo ranked first. But even this public-voted good husband couldn't avoid cheating on his wife and keeping a model as his mistress. All those nights when he'd said he suddenly got inspired and needed to go back to his studio to work, he'd actually been tangled up in passion with that glamorous woman. She felt as if someone had grabbed her by the throat and pushed her into the ocean, drowning in suffocation and bone-chilling cold. More photos of the man in intimate moments popped up on her WeChat, leaving her in a daze. Noah Goo had confessed to her more than once. After rejecting him for the last time, she told him, if you can accept my past, we can talk about our future. Sophia had told him she was an orphan who grew up in an acrobatic troupe. The runway goddess he saw was just a poor homeless girl trapped in a sky-high contract. She had no energy for love, afraid of getting hurt and too scared to even try. After hearing this, Noah only felt more sorry for her. He promised, we'll never mention those old days again. From now on, I'll be your shelter. With a wave of his hand, he paid off her exorbitant contract termination fee. Finally, she was free to fly as high as she wanted. She remembered that day when he held her contract and said word by word, trust me. Tomorrow will be better. In that moment, her last line of defense crumbled. Her heart fell for him completely. Every time he talked to others, he couldn't go 3 sentences without mentioning her. He kept track of her every latest update, invested in ads for her and secured sponsors. Everyone who knew them said he was Sophia Sue's diehard fan and a love-obsessed fool. At their wedding in Goodwood, his eyes were filled with tenderness. That loving gaze had tricked her into thinking she was his entire world. He'd said the proudest thing in his life was marrying her, and if he ever broke his promise of loyalty, he'd be punished by losing the love of his life forever. Well, it was time for that punishment to come true. She would change her identity and leave forever, disappearing completely from his world. A red tinge crept into the corners of her eyes. She drove to the TV station to film today's variety show. As soon as she reached the backstage, Noah-gu pulled her into a tight hug. "I called you so many times but you didn't answer. I told you I'd drive you here tonight, why didn't you listen? Were you trying to worry your husband to death?" He leaned down to look at her, and when he saw her pale face and red puffy eyes, his heart ached. He frowned, gently cupping her cheeks. "Tell me, baby, did someone with no sense mess with you? Husband will fix it for you." She casually moved his hand away and said calmly, "No. Just wind in my eyes. I had the car window down while driving." Hearing this, Noah's furrowed brows finally relaxed. His eyes were soft as he tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, just like a man in the throes of love. But she'd already woken up to the truth. The man in front of her had split his heart in two, housing two women inside. After they finished their makeup and styling in the lounge, she received a photo from Lily Shin. Inside an open Louis Vuitton suitcase were stacks of empty condom boxes. "Flies, never thought we'd use this many already. Almost forgot the key part, he doesn't use condoms anymore now. Our baby's going to be so beautiful." She lowered her head to hide the storm of emotions inside her, but her hand holding the phone trembled uncontrollably. Sophia turned off the screen. It felt as if someone had snapped a nerve in her brain, leaving her gasping for air. She forced her gaze to him. As if sensing her eyes, Noah-gu gave her a familiar smile. Once that smile had made her feel safe. Now it only felt bitterly ironic. Their marriage was like a rotten apple, eaten away by worms from the inside. Only its outer skin remained shiny and intact. She was already trapped tightly by the vines of betrayal. In the observation room, there weren't many camera shots reserved for the guest observers. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed Noah sneaking glances at his phone from time to time, his fingers scrolling rapidly. A scarlet tinge appeared in his eyes. No doubt that woman had sent him more provocative photos. She watched his little movements in silence, casually flipping her hair to hide the tears welling up at the corners of her eyes. Filming ended at 1 a.m. Noah-gu hurried over to her, looking anxious. "Honey, I suddenly got inspired. Sorry, I can't go home with you. I have to go to the office first." He tucked her thick hair behind her ears, then pulled her into a tight hug. "Honey, I hate having to leave you. Thanks for understanding me again. Be careful on your way home." Sophia's eyes trembled slightly. Lying to her had become second nature to him now. Once this man had been rejected by her countless times, yet he'd kept pursuing her. With tears in his eyes he'd said, "In this life I only want you. I don't want anyone else." This man who had sworn to spend his life with her, now said he hated to leave her, but his actions screamed that he was rushing to another woman. Before she could speak, Noah's phone buzzed. He let go of her, glanced at the message and hurried off in his car. She stood frozen in the night breeze, watching his car drive out of sight until it vanished completely. Only then did she murmur, "I'll never forgive you again." She would leave, disappear from his world for good. This would be her answer to his betrayal. When Sophia got home, she immediately took a shower, trying to wash away the darkness of the day from her body. As soon as she put on her bathrobe and walked into the bedroom, a video popped up on her phone. In the video, Lily Shin had a tie blindfolding her eyes, the same tie Noah-gu had worn that night. She was wearing a sexy sheer outfit, with puppy ears on her head and a black collar around her fair neck. She crawled slowly on the bed like a lost little animal. Her curves jiggled with every movement and her voice was as sweet as a nightingale's. "Master, come punish me." Soon a familiar male figure pounced on her like a hungry wolf. Sophia furiously swiped the screen to close WeChat. She tried to breathe deeply to ease the tightness in her chest. She'd known about their relationship for a long time. She'd thought she'd gotten used to these explicit scenes. But she'd underestimated the impact of the video. It felt as if her bones had been submerged in sea water, bitter and cold, spreading rapidly through her entire body. She couldn't sleep. She sat quietly on the bed, staring wide awake until dawn. Her phone vibrated again. Lily Shin had sent her a message. "He's so energetic. My waist was almost broken last night. Your birthday is coming up. I have a surprise for you. The address, be there on time at 3 p.m. Sophia Sue's grip on the phone tightened as if she wanted to crush it. When Noah Gu got home, he found Sophia sitting on the edge of the bed with red eyes, her phone lying on the floor. A sinking feeling hit his chest. He hurried to kneel at her feet, his tone cautious. "Honey, what's wrong with you? Your eyes are so red and your hands and feet are freezing. What happened?" He took her hands in his, rubbing them gently to warm them up. Sophia finally snapped out of her daze. She tried to force a smile but found it impossible. She looked down to avoid his gaze, her voice hoarse. "I watched a horror movie. Couldn't sleep all night." Noah pulled her into a hug, his voice filled with pity. "Don't watch those anymore. You scared your husband half to death." She was about to speak when his phone rang. "Mr. Gu, the on-site decoration you booked is all done." Panic flashed across Noah's face. "You have the wrong number." Seeing Sophia's expression remain calm as if she hadn't heard the call, Noah let out a quiet sigh of relief. He feigned anger. "My phone number must have been leaked recently. I keep getting weird calls." She watched his performance coldly, forcing a faint smile. "Honey, you didn't sleep well last night. Let the driver take you for a spa today to relax." Sophia just looked at him quietly, not responding. Noah took her silence as agreement. When he saw her packing to go out, Noah couldn't wait to drive away either. She checked the car's GPS tracker. It showed the final destination was a luxury hotel in Shishan. It was exactly the address Lily Shin had sent her. Suddenly everything clicked. Her eyes turned icy cold. Noah had lied to her again. This was originally the place Noah had planned for her birthday. But a few days ago he'd suddenly changed his story. "Honey, there's a young couple who wants to propose there. They contacted me. He clearly loves her so much, wants to give her the perfect proposal. But if you're not okay with it, I'll tell them no." But there was no young couple at all. It was all just an excuse to let Lily Shin use the venue instead. He'd counted on her being soft-hearted, unwilling to disappoint a couple in love. A dull ache spread through Sophia's chest, mixed with deep disappointment in this man. He'd lied to her again. She let out a bitter laugh. How many more things was he hiding from her? At 3 p.m. sharp, Lily Shin sent her another message. "Take the hotel's observation elevator down from the top floor. You'll see a different kind of scenery. For you. It's beautiful." Inside the observation elevator, as far as Sophia could see, was a sea of flowers. Romantic pink, fiery red, holy white, elegant blue flower paths paved with roses, stretching as high as 3 meters. In the center of the venue was a 3D red heart made of roses, with Lily Shin's name spelled out inside. As the elevator slowly descended, she saw a figure in a snow-white wedding dress walking down the flower path toward the center of the venue. That figure was none other than Lily Shin. Sophia's eyes were drawn uncontrollably to the scene. Then another message from Lily popped up. "What if it was designed for you? One little cry from me, and it became the scene of him proposing to me. Smart, step aside already. You're almost 30. Calling you all the time isn't very polite. Last name is Sue. From now on, I'll call you Aunt Sue," a dismissive term for an older woman. Lily Shin started a live stream of the romantic proposal, immediately attracting a crowd of onlookers. In her glamorous wedding dress, she appeared on camera, sharing the joy of being proposed to by her love. The comment section was filled with blessings and envy for their fairy tale love. Lily held a bouquet of flowers. A large hand wrapped around her waist. Its owner didn't appear on camera, but the scar on his thumb let Sophia recognize it instantly. It was Noah Gu's hand. The irony of it all hit her. That scar was from when he'd cut his hand peeling fruit for her once. Now it had become proof of his betrayal. Tears streamed down Sophia's face uncontrollably. Her husband was proposing to another woman right now. Where did that leave her? As a discarded wife? Soon a comment appeared. Design style is so similar to Ms. Sue's work. Could it be her design? That's right, it's hers, Lily said on the live stream, her eyes full of sweetness. How do we book her? Didn't Ms. Sue say she'd only design venues for her husband in this lifetime? A triumphant glint flashed in Lily's eyes. All you need is a husband who loves you enough. Lily turned her back to the hotel, her smile meaningful. In a sickly sweet voice she asked, "Honey, am I the most beautiful bride-to-be? Am I the one you love the most?" The man didn't appear on camera, but Sophia heard his doting laugh. "Lily is the most beautiful. Today's the day I propose to you, who else would I love?" But Lily wasn't satisfied with this vague answer. She pressed Noah for a clear response. Okay, I'll say it. The woman I love the most is Lily Shin. All other women are just passers-by. Lily glanced toward the hotel building, her eyes full of amusement. She moved her lips silently, mouthed "He's mine" to the camera. Viewers thought Lily was just showing off her love, but Sophia knew Lily was declaring her dominance to her. As his wife, she could tell those words came from his heart. She collapsed onto a sofa in the lobby, tears blurring her vision. It felt as if shards of ice had pierced her spine, leaving her in agony. For some unknown reason, Sophia dialed Noah's phone. He didn't answer. She tried again and again but only heard the busy tone. She let out a bitter laugh. Once Noah had claimed to love her more than anything. Now she was just a passerby. Before, not even a phone call was needed. If she'd said she wanted to see him, he would have dropped everything to rush to her side. Now all she could say was, "People change." She had no more expectations of him. All the unwillingness, love, and hatred vanished in that moment. She was grateful she was leaving soon. "Noagu, may we never meet again." Sophia stood up to leave, but a sharp cramp hit her lower abdomen. A warm trickle of blood ran down her thigh. Her vision went black. The last thing she heard was someone shouting, "Someone fainted. You had signs of a threatened miscarriage. Luckily we saved the baby." Avoid intense emotional ups and downs during pregnancy. Sophia stared blankly as she remembered the doctor's words. God was playing a cruel joke on her. That night she returned home and looked at the messages Noah had sent. "I was so busy today, I'm sorry I didn't answer your calls. Swamped tonight. Won't be coming home." She knew these were all lies. She could have exposed them, could have confronted him, but she didn't care anymore. There were more important things to do. She contacted a real estate agent to sell all her properties, including the famous villa Noah had designed for her, which he'd named Love Nest. All the jewelry and luxury goods he'd given her were listed on luxury resale platforms. Since the prices were well below market value, they were snapped up quickly. Photo albums filled with their loving memories were fed one by one into a shredder, turned to dust. She wanted nothing of what Noah had given her. Erasing all traces of their past, this was her way of saying goodbye to their history. The next noon, as she checked the resale orders on her phone, the bedroom door was thrown open. Noah strode toward her, pulled her into a tight hug, his voice trembling. "Honey, I get it, you were mad I didn't answer your calls. You can hit me, scold me. But why are you selling the Love Nest? I designed that house with my own hands. Every corner is filled with my love for you. Selling it, does that mean you don't want me anymore? That you're leaving me?" She gently pushed him away, breaking out of his embrace. She looked into his eyes, filled with sorrow, like a puppy about to be abandoned. It was ridiculous. He could grieve over the thought of her leaving, yet he'd done things that shattered her heart. Once she would have melted at the sight, agreeing to anything he wanted. But now she just stared quietly at the man with red-rimmed eyes and said calmly, "You're overthinking it. I just don't like it anymore. I'm already married to you, where would I run?" But inside she laughed coldly. "So you do realize I might leave you. Then why did you cheat? Is it because you're so full at home that even garbage outside tastes good? Or do you think you're such a good actor that you can get away with it? Honey, since you love me so much, design another house for me, okay?" For now, she didn't want to arouse suspicion. She had to lie, say she'd sold the old one just because she didn't like it. Noah immediately stopped fixating on the Love Nest. He vowed earnestly, "Honey, I'll make sure you love the design of this new villa. I promise." He was this upset just at the thought of her leaving. She couldn't wait to see how crazy he'd get when he realized she'd vanished completely. Suppressing her revulsion, she patiently soothed him. Only after she promised repeatedly that she wouldn't leave him did Noah's anxious heart finally calm down. But Noah still felt a faint unease. He kept telling himself not to be paranoid, and Ning was already his wife. They'd be happy forever. All he needed to do was not slip up. He'd always been so careful. Nothing would go wrong. He was just being too sensitive. Yes, definitely too sensitive. 2 days later, Sophia went back to the obstetrics and gynecology department for a checkup. Luckily the baby was fine. The doctor had warned her earlier. Given her physical condition, an abortion wasn't recommended. This might be her only chance to have a child. So she'd cherish this little angel, though the child would be hers alone. She sat on a hospital bench, gently touching her still flat abdomen. Not far away, Lily Shin leaned against Noah Gu like a limp noodle as they walked out of the obstetrics department. Perhaps because Sophia was wearing a mask and hat, neither of them recognized her. Lily looked listless. "Ugh, I thought I was pregnant. Got so excited. Turns out it was a false alarm." "What's a false pregnancy, anyway? I really had morning sickness." Watching Noah struggle to hold back a laugh, Lily flew into a rage, hitting his chest lightly with her fists. From Sophia's perspective, it looked like a sweet scene. She throws a tantrum, he laughs. She closed her eyes and shook her head. It would have been perfect. If that man wasn't her husband. Must be because you haven't been trying hard enough lately, honey. Noah suddenly lifted Lily into his arms, his voice hoarse as he whispered in her ear, "Come on, let's go home and make a baby, sweetheart." "You're terrible." Lily's coquettish laughter echoed down the corridor. Sophia lowered her head and curved her lips into a smile. For years she'd been too busy with her career to want children. Noah had said he wasn't in a hurry, but clearly he'd thought otherwise. So before she left, she'd give him 2 more gifts. This little angel had come unexpectedly. But every angel deserved to grow up in a healthy, loving home. If the baby's home could only be a pretense of love, then it was better not to have it at all. When Sophia Sue returned to the villa, she was consulting a professional nutritionist about prenatal dietary arrangements. Suddenly, a live stream notification from Lily Shin popped up. Since her proposal live stream last time, Lily had gained a huge following overnight and become a well-known internet celebrity. As soon as she started broadcasting, her viewer count soared to 100,000. This live stream was held at her home. Lily wore a spicy crop top with high-waisted jeans covered in large rips and thigh-high boots. She strutted beautifully in front of the camera. Opening with her usual glamorous smile, she swayed her hips and interacted with her fans. "Babes, isn't my catwalk no worse than a professional model's?" When fans flooded the comments with approval, Lily smiled in satisfaction. One comment caught her eye. "Folic acid on the table, are you having a baby?" A blush spread across Lily's face. "Naughty you. Your eyes are so sharp." "We're trying for a baby, but I've been using a secret weapon lately. I'm sure we'll have good news soon." Fans bombarded her with questions about the secret weapon. "I've been doing pinkish projects lately," she purred. "Your brother-in-law is so dominant and wild. Every time he leaves me sore and weak." Fans screamed in the comments, "Is this something we're allowed to hear? Talking bad about me again, huh?" Noah Gu's voice suddenly came from off-camera. His tone was warm yet laced with a seductive edge, making viewers swoon. They begged for brother-in-law to appear on screen. "Nope, he's only for my eyes," Lily cooed. "No need to be so possessive. Haven't you seen every inch of me? Still not tired of looking?" The live chat exploded. Viewers typed frantically, "This is not a kid-friendly stream. So spicy, we love it." At his tease, Lily shot a coquettish glance toward the off-camera man and pretended to hit him, only to be pulled roughly into a hug. Noah's long, slender fingers appeared on camera. Fans gushed, "These hands are a work of art." Amid countless compliments, one comment slipped through, "Hand looks familiar." And his voice too. Can't remember where I've heard it before. But it was quickly buried under new messages. Lily was pulled out of the frame, but their ambiguous noises still drifted over Noah's deep, sexy pants. Baby. Wearing a thong. You're playing with fire. Viewers went wild typing, is there anything we can't watch? When Sophia saw Lily again on screen, her eyes were hazy with desire, her lips bright red and glistening, no explanation needed. Lily panted and joked, babes, I'm ending the stream early. Your brother-in-law's animal instincts are kicking in because I'm too charming. Sophia's heart had sunk to cold numbness. She watched the entire live stream with a calm expression, even recording it for safekeeping. These scenes were nothing but trivial provocations to her now. They couldn't stir a single ripple in her heart. 3 hours later, Lily sent new photos. In them, a man's large hands held a woman's snow-white rounded toes, painting them with bright red nail polish. Visually it was quite a pleasing sight. Says my feet look best with red. The contrast between ginger paleness and red is a work of art. Time I tease him with my toes he can't hold back. Zoo hubby told me your toes are deformed from high heels, he feels no desire at all for them. Didn't know? He's a total foot fetishist. After reading Lily's messages one by one, Sophia felt a moment of pity for this woman's ignorance and patheticness. She gripped her phone tightly, her knuckles turning white, refusing to let go. Lily probably thought this affection would make Sophia suffer. Admittedly, it had worked at first, but grief had eventually woken Sophia up. Every provocation from Lily revealed a new layer of Noah's true nature. Once she'd thought he was just tempted by a wildflower outside. Now she realized she'd never truly known him. Love is pure, it's about tolerance and understanding. It's not using your lover's pain as a topic to flirt with someone else. These deformed feet had won her glory on the runway. They were never tools to please men. And she was never a woman whose purpose was to satisfy a man's fetishes. Noagu, you're far worse than I ever imagined. After watching Lily's live stream that afternoon, Sophia had assumed Noah would make an excuse and not come home that night. To her surprise, he was back before 9 p.m. Perhaps male intuition had kicked in. Somehow he'd refused Lily's request to stay over. He'd realized he'd spent far too little time with Ning lately. With a bashful, innocent smile, he held a bouquet of her favorite sunflowers and easily pulled the tall woman into his arms. For a split second as their eyes met, Sophia felt as if she'd traveled back in time, to the 19-year-old boy who'd cherished her like a treasure. During the years Noah had pursued her, she'd rejected his roses countless times. She'd never expected him to bring sunflowers one day, and she'd been stunned. In truth, she didn't like expensive, delicate roses. She preferred sunflowers, bright, turning toward the sun, full of wild vitality. He'd said, I noticed. You get so many bouquets backstage, but you always linger a little longer when you see sunflowers. In my eyes, there's no one but you. The sunflowers meaning matches my feelings exactly. Her heart had been touched by this man who'd noticed such tiny details. It was the first time she'd accepted his flowers. She still remembered how he'd sighed in relief and mumbled, I knew you didn't reject me because you didn't like me. I just picked the wrong flowers. His rambling, tongue-twister-like words had made her laugh. But that innocent boy in her memories was gone forever. As she pressed against his chest, she smelled a familiar citrus scent, fresh with a hint of sourness. It was her signature perfume, Nile Garden. Her pupils trembled. A bitter smile tugged at her lips. If it weren't for Lily, she might never have discovered his betrayal. Due to her pregnancy, she hadn't used any perfume lately. This scent could only come from another woman. He'd hidden it well. After intimacy with Lily, he'd smelled of no other fragrance, meaning he'd made Lily use her same perfume. Fine then. If he was working so hard to pretend, she'd play along with this loving couple act until the end. Sophia spoke calmly, I'm pregnant. A bright light flashed in Noah's eyes. He exclaimed excitedly, Really, honey? His mouth split into a grin. He even jumped up, losing his usual gentlemanly poise, acting like an eager young man, completely immersed in the joy of becoming a father. His excitement didn't seem fake. He would probably be a good father who loved his child. But this man had also been trying to conceive a child with another woman these days. Soon he'd have another child, she thought. She lowered her eyelids slightly to hide the bitterness in her heart. Knowing Noah's personality well, she took out 2 prepared documents, a divorce agreement and a voluntary waiver of custody rights. Flipping directly to the signature page, she looked at him with tender eyes. Honey, I've set my sights on 2 new brands. They seem very promising. Will you buy them for me? In his moment of joy, he didn't suspect her motives at all. He quickly signed his name on both documents. Honey, that's nothing, he said. Even if you asked for the stars in the sky, I'd buy them for you. For your birthday, I'm planning to buy you a small island. He was mid-sentence when his phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, he frowned and hung up immediately. The caller seemed determined to annoy him. They kept calling back over and over. Now that she'd achieved her goal, Sophia had no need to keep pretending to share his joy of impending parenthood. In fact, she was even grateful Lily had called. Otherwise, she wouldn't have known how to continue the act. Sophia gently tugged his sleeve and urged softly, "Answer it. What if it's something urgent?" Reluctantly, he walked to a corner of the living room and answered, his voice cold. "What is it?" Chaotic music and a woman's drunken sobs came from the other end. "Hubby. Someone spiked my drink at the bar. My whole body's burning up. Come save me. Men keep grabbing me. I'm so dizzy. So scared." Whatever was said next made Noah's face pale with panic. Beads of sweat broke out on his forehead. "Honey, I have to go out, emergency," he said. With that, he ran out without looking back. Sophia stood at the door, watching him get in the car until it disappeared into the night. A new WeChat message popped up on her phone from Lily. "Sue, so what if he went home to you? I just faked a little cry and he came running to me. Holding on to the empty title of Mrs. Gu, like this, what's the point? Your fans still shipping you too. I can't stop laughing. I were you, I'd be too ashamed to show my face." Sophia turned off her phone screen. Her eyes were hidden in the darkness. No one could read her emotions. Noah didn't come home all night. He didn't even show any sign of returning for several days. Once she would have called immediately to ask if something was wrong. But now she did nothing and he didn't seem to notice her unusual silence. She pulled at her lips in a bitter smile. Lily updated her on Noah's whereabouts every day. She didn't need to call him. Probably he was so lost in the beauty's arms that he'd lost track of time. It was almost over. She unconsciously stroked the wedding ring in her hand. There was one last thing she needed to do. She sent Noah a message. "Noah Gu, come with me to Goodwood one more time." They were going back to that fairy tale town, the place where they'd held their wedding. Their marriage had begun here and it should end here too. Stepping into the church must have stirred memories. Her eyes, which she thought had run dry, welled up again. A pair of hands gently wiped the corners of her eyes, then draped a shawl over her shoulders. "Honey, why are you crying?" This time she didn't resist or pull away. She accepted his kindness quietly, leaning her head against his chest. "Noah, do you still remember the vows you made here?" Recalling their wedding, softness filled his eyes as he talked about every little detail of that day. "I'll never forget that day for the rest of my life. I swore I'd make you happy forever, you'd be the only one in my heart always." His words were sincere. Sophia lowered her eyelids, a bitter smile tugging at her lips. "What if you don't keep that vow?" After a moment of silence, he whispered, "I'd lose the love of my life forever." "Honey, don't worry. That day will never come. I only love you, I won't even glance at other women." Listening to his earnest promises, her heart remained calm as still water. Men's words are just lies wrapped in sweetness. They sound so real, yet mean nothing. He'd hurt her deeply. All the embarrassment and misfortune in her life paled in comparison to the pain he'd caused. Their fingers intertwined as they walked along the country path, savoring this rare moment of peace. Noah's phone buzzed, shattering the brief tranquility. Irritated, he opened the notification. When he saw the photo Lily Shin had sent, his breath hitched. At the same time, Sophia received a message from Lily too. I can make him leave you instantly with just one photo. She turned off her phone. She could clearly feel his mind was no longer here. With a gentle, understanding smile she said, "Got something to take care of?" Noah hesitated, then shook his head. For some reason, a voice in his heart told him he couldn't leave Sophia right now. She gave him an excuse. "Did the company send you new documents? Go back to the hotel to deal with them. I'll wander around a bit, remember to pick me up later." Anxiety stirred in Noah. He didn't want to go. A gut feeling told him if he left, she'd be gone when he returned. But her eyes were filled with tenderness as she touched her still flat abdomen. His unease faded for a moment. He thought, just a short while. It'll be fine. And Ning's carrying my child, where could she go? As he turned to leave she called out to him, "Don't forget the way back." He looked over his shoulder and smiled. "How could I? You little directionally challenged thing." Watching him walk away, her smile turned desolate as tears poured down. Did he really still remember the way back from when he was 19? Moments later, a man approached. "Miss Sue, all your domestic records have been erased. This is your new ID. Sophia Sue no longer exists in this world. You can board the ship to Finland at the pier." Her phone lit up again. Lily had sent her a new message. "Sue, I just sent a photo of myself in only underwear and hubby left you to come find me at the hotel. I must be so charming, right? Be smart and get out of my and hubby's love life for good." This wasn't Lily's first provocation, but it was the first time Sophia replied. "You got what you wanted." She looked up at the man in front of her and handed him her phone. "Please mail this phone and the letter back to China. Make sure Noah Gu signs for it personally." She'd never been one to let others bully her. The humiliation and pain Lily had put her through, Noah would pay for it. She and her child would leave him forever. Today was their goodbye. She wanted him to regret it forever, to lose his wife and child for a moment of pleasure. After giving her final instructions, she boarded the cruise ship. On the deck, as she took off her ruby wedding ring, she suddenly remembered Lily's words. The contrast between extreme paleness and red is a work of art. A faint smile touched her lips. Maybe Noah's preferences had never changed, but that no longer had anything to do with her. The cruise ship sailed through the narrow fjord, leaving the alternating light and shadow behind. It was bathed in sunlight. At the hotel, Noah gripped Lily's chin, wondering if he should get rid of this disobedient woman. His expression dark, he stared at her. "Didn't I tell you not to contact me without permission while we're in Norway?" Faced with his anger, Lily showed no fear. She shrugged, and the loose bathrobe draped over her shoulders slipped to the floor. Beneath it was a red, sexy bikini. She guided his hand to her curves, pressing her body against his. In a coquettish voice, "I'm sorry, baby. I just missed you so much. Just this once, forgive me. I won't do it again." Looking up and seeing his eyes darken with desire, Lily Hall licked his throbbing Adam's apple. As expected, he lifted her onto the bed. Everything happened so naturally. With a low groan, Noah finished their tryst. For some reason, an inexplicable panic stirred in his chest. Glancing at the time, he hurried to take a shower and get dressed. He'd wasted over an hour. And Ning must be waiting anxiously. The thought of Ning carrying their child softened his heart, and a smile tugged at his lips unconsciously. He'd been so caught up in fooling around with Lily lately that he'd neglected Ning. Everyone said pregnant women were the most sensitive. He didn't want to make her angry. For the rest of their trip in Norway, he planned to focus entirely on her. After all, Lily was just a plaything to him. She was nothing compared to his wife. Watching his urgent demeanor, Lily knew he was going to find Sophia. She lifted her fair leg and wrapped it around his waist. "Hubby, don't go. I don't know anyone here in Norway. You're all I have. Stay with me, okay?" But when she saw his darkening eyes and furrowed brows, Lily shut up wisely. She kissed his cheek reluctantly and let him go. When Noah drove back, he couldn't find Sophia anywhere. He thought she was angry, playing hide-and-seek to punish him. He smiled and sent her a message. "I'm sorry I'm late. It's okay to be mad, but don't hide from me. I'm worried about you." But his message went unanswered. His calls didn't get through either. Finally, panic set in. He called her name aloud, but only the lonely wind replied. A terrifying thought struck him like lightning. She's gone. She doesn't want me anymore. But he quickly denied it. She didn't know anyone here and was carrying his child. Where could she go? She must be testing me, he told himself. That's it. Trying to calm down, he asked passers-by if they'd seen her. But they all shook their heads blankly. Cold sweat broke out on his back. He collapsed onto the luban, a smile uglier than tears on his face. And Ning, please. Don't scare me like this. I'm sorry. Hit me, scold me, anything. Just don't torture me like this. Suddenly, a message from Sophia popped up on his phone. Went back to China first. Noah let out a sigh of relief. And Ning was just angry and went back home. She didn't leave him. He'd really messed up this time. He needed to fly back immediately, find her and apologize until she forgave him. Noah took the earliest flight back to China. As soon as he landed, he rushed home. But Sophia was still nowhere to be found. He asked the maid, "Has Madam come back?" "No, sir," the maid replied, confused. "Wasn't Madam with you this whole time?" He waved her away irritably, signaling he didn't want to talk. Was Ning still too angry? He loosened his tie and walked into the bedroom, planning to call Sophia's friends in China to ask about her whereabouts. But a casual glance made his phone slip from his hand and crash to the floor. Had Ning's room always looked like this? No, something was wrong. Where were all the jewelry and luxury goods he'd given her? Why was the walk-in closet empty? He knocked over a photo album by accident. When it opened, it was completely blank. Where had all their photos gone? The uneasy thought returned stronger than ever. His expression grave, he called his secretary. "In 1 hour, I want a full record of Madam's movements this month. Find out everywhere she's been and any unusual behavior. Spare no details." After hanging up, he pinched the bridge of his nose and frowned. Where had he gone wrong? He'd been so careful. Had Ning really found out about his affair? Soon his suspicion was confirmed. The variety show they'd filmed together was playing on TV. The camera captured Sophia looking at him with tears in her eyes. He racked his brain to remember what he'd been doing at that moment. His pupils contracted violently. Back then he'd been sending harmony messages to Lily, and had spent the night with her afterward. The more details he recalled, the clearer it became. When she'd arrived at the filming set that day, her eyes had been red too. Noah collapsed onto the carpet, unable to believe it. How could this be? Had she already suspected something back then? Yet she'd hidden her pain and now she'd left him completely, taking their unborn child with her. How could she be so ruthless? His secretary sent over surveillance footage of Sophia's recent activities. One clip, filmed outside the hospital's obstetrics department, made his hands shake as he held the phone. That woman sitting on the bench, was that his Ning? Had she heard every word of his playful banter with Lily? And she'd been carrying their child at the time. How much pain must she have felt? The room spun around him. His heart constricted violently, the pain making it hard to breathe. How could this happen? The maid's voice pulled him back. "Sir, there's an international package for you." In a daze he opened it. Inside was a phone and a letter. When he unfolded the letter, his eyes widened. It was in Ning's handwriting. "Gu, I'm gone. The answers you want are in the WeChat on this phone. There's a gift I prepared for you in the bedside drawer." Following the letter's instructions, he opened the drawer. When he saw its contents, he felt as if struck by a thunderbolt. His usual elegant face twisted with shock. How dare she divorce him? And make him give up custody of their child? Sophia Sue's phone buzzed. He stared at the familiar profile picture and his vision went dark again. It was another provocative message from Lily Shin. "Sue, do you have no shame at all? Didn't you say you'd let me have what I wanted? Why are you still clinging to hubby? I really need to call him over here before you'll give up?" His fingers trembled as he scrolled through the screen. Every message was either a lewd, lustful video or another provocation from Lily. The earliest one was sent 2 months ago. He stared at Lily's messages in disbelief. A bloodthirsty smile spread across his gentle face. "So you were the one stirring up trouble behind my back. Lily Shin, how dare you?" At the same time, The divorce statement Sophia had scheduled to post automatically went live on social media. In short, it stated that due to external factors she and Noah Gu had ended their relationship. She would retire from the industry and never return. It shot straight to the top of the trending topics. In public, Noah rushed to take down the trending tag and released a statement claiming his wife's account had been hacked. He said the post was false and that their relationship was still strong. In private he searched for Sophia through every means possible. But no matter how hard he looked, she had vanished without a trace. His people could only confirm she disappeared in Norway. There was no record of her boarding any flight. The world was so big. Finding her was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Every time he thought of her resolute departure, Noah's heart felt like it was being torn apart. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol at home, numbing his nerves so he wouldn't have to think about how she'd abandoned him, or feel the searing pain in his chest. Noah became irritable and short-tempered, losing all his former grace and affability. The maids walked on eggshells at home, terrified of angering him accidentally. He was drowning in his drink when his phone buzzed. It was a message from Lily. "Will you like me in a sailor uniform?" A cold smile curved his lips, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Amid the chaos he'd almost forgotten this root of all his troubles, but it wasn't too late. When Lily opened the door she didn't get the passionate embrace she expected. Instead Noah grabbed her by the throat. Her face turned bright red and she thought she was going to suffocate, only then did he loosen his grip slightly. Her pupils trembled as she coughed violently. She couldn't understand what she'd done to anger him. She tried her usual trick to seduce him, but he shook her roughly, sending her crashing to the floor. Panic flooded Lily's face but she forced a fawning smile. "Hubby, what's wrong with you?" Noah's eyes were dark and cruel as he stepped closer, his voice cold enough to make her shiver. "What's wrong? From the moment I agreed to this arrangement I told you if you want to be my kept woman, you have to act like one. How dare you send those things to her?" Every word he spat out sounded like he wanted to devour her alive. Lily's face turned pale, all her former arrogance gone. She realized her secret scheming might have been exposed. But she had no choice but to play dumb. She knew without his favor she was nothing. With tears blurring her eyes she crawled to his feet, begging for even a scrap of pity. "Hubby, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't look at me like that. I'm scared." He knelt down, pulled out Sophia's phone and opened their chat history. His voice was icy. "Then you must remember this." Lily's pupils contracted. She never expected Noah to have Sophia's phone. Did that mean he knew everything she'd done? True fear gripped her. Her teeth chattered. She remembered Noah's rule. If she wanted to stay with him she had to be a quiet mistress. At first that's what she'd planned. But he'd made exceptions for her again and again, done so many romantic things for her. The love and tenderness in his eyes had made her fall deeply in love with him. That's why she'd resorted to dirty tricks to drive Sophia away. That's why she'd kept provoking her. She clung to his pants leg, sobbing pitifully, "Noah, I just love you too much. I only wanted you to be mine. Love is selfish, was that so wrong?" Noah remained completely unmoved as if watching a stranger. His disgust for her grew stronger. He stared coldly at the beautiful woman before him and sneered, "You think you're worthy of loving me? The only love I want is in Ning's. From the start this was just a transaction, Lily Shin. You overstepped your bounds." She froze, her nose stinging and eyes swelling. She glared at him with red, furious eyes. "Is my love so cheap? Why am I not worthy of loving you?" He raised an eyebrow, mocking her. "Because the moment you walked up to me at that dinner party pretending to spill wine on me, I knew exactly what kind of person you were. All looks, no brains. It was just a transaction of money for beauty. I indulged you because you were obedient. But you're stupid and malicious. You drove my Ning away. You made her leave with my child in her belly without looking back." He grabbed her chin, his eyes filled with scarlet hatred. "I told you before, don't touch my family. Why did you have to cross that line?" Lily clung tightly to his yell. "Because I love you. I was jealous that she could win your heart without even trying." She choked out, Love needs tricks. I only did what any woman driven crazy by love would do. You're the one who left Sophia again and again to come to me. You proposed to me, you gave me hope. If you hadn't indulged me, been gentle to me, made me think you loved me too, would I have done those things? I just wanted to be with you openly. What's wrong with that? By the end, Lily was screaming hysterically, driven to the edge. He caressed the soft skin of her neck, wanting to strangle her right then. You make me sick. If you can't understand simple words, go get treated in a mental hospital. Terror flashed in Lily's eyes. She shook her head through tears. No, you can't do this to me. I might already be pregnant with your child. Yes, they'd spent so many nights together and he'd never used protection. She must be pregnant. Noah raised an eyebrow, stood up and scoffed. A child? Are you living in a fantasy? When you got your plastic surgery done, I had them give you birth control shots on the side. Do you think I didn't use protection because I actually wanted a child with you? I played along with your trying for a baby act because you looked so pitiful. Did you really think it was real? Lily Cho, di, bong, kui, la. So this was all she was to him, a toy to amuse himself with. What are you standing there for? Drag her away and send her to the mental hospital. Noah ordered the bodyguards waiting outside. His eyes were filled with violent darkness. The bodyguards obeyed immediately, yanking Lily up from the floor. Lily screamed, clinging to the doorframe and begging, No. Noagu, you can't do this to me. But the man who'd shared her bed showed no trace of his former tenderness. Now he looked like a demon from hell, eager for her to die. She refused to accept it. She meant nothing to him. Hatred burned in her as she screamed at the top of her lungs. Noagu, you betrayed Sophia's true love. You betrayed mine. You'll never be loved for the rest of your life. Noah gave her one last look of utter loathing and told the bodyguards, Knock her out. I don't want to hear her voice anymore. Days passed, and Noah still had no clues about Sophia's whereabouts. Negative news about him spread online. Fans who'd shipped Lily with her hubby, and those who'd shipped him with Sophia started noticing inconsistencies. They realized the two hubbies might be the same person, especially after fans rewatched Lily's proposal livestream. The man's hand details were identical to Noagu's. Combined with Sophia's earlier statement, netizens pieced it all together. They confirmed he was a cheating scumbag. Overnight he was drowned in public outrage, becoming the target of universal condemnation. Even though he kept denying it, taking down posts and staying silent, the public refused to let him go. Sensing a chance for clout, many influencers and paparazzi camped outside his neighborhood, live streaming non-stop. Soon everyone young and old knew his name. After weeks of waiting and never seeing Sophia, people were certain they'd really divorced. Fed up, Noah shut himself inside his house. The perfect husband persona he'd built for years collapsed overnight. Many collaborators admired his talent, but due to the cheating and divorce scandal, they had to cancel partnerships to protect their own brand images. Luckily, he'd never been involved in his family's business and had never revealed his true identity, so his family's company wasn't affected. Meanwhile, in Northern Europe, Sophia Sue was flipping through a parenting guide, completely unaware of his troubles. With her own savings plus the money from selling her domestic assets, she lived comfortably in Finland. The half-year polar days and half-year polar nights had been hard to get used to at first, but people always learn to adapt. Just like how she'd struggled after leaving Noah, now she could live well on her own. She became a fashion designer. Having worked in the fashion industry, she had a unique eye and always created innovative designs. Her work caught the attention of several local niche brands and her life was fulfilling. She was walking down the street as usual when she suddenly came face to face with Soo Tsuji. He still looked as handsome as she remembered, his face cold as the last time she'd seen him. Sophia. Her eyes flickered. She tried to pretend not to know him, but the slippery sidewalk made her stumble. He stepped forward in a flash, catching her in his arms. She took a deep breath. She knew she'd missed her chance to escape. Thank you, Soo Tsuji, but please let go of me first. She tried to push the man away, but his grip only tightened. The man lowered his eyes to her jade-like face, and chose to hide the turmoil in his heart, slowly releasing her. He told himself not to rush as he had already waited so many years. Sophia didn't know what was wrong with herself. Meeting him felt like encountering a nemesis. She had never been able to do anything about him before, and after so many years she didn't expect that she still hadn't improved at all. She blamed it all on the man being too strong. Otherwise she wouldn't have chosen a refined and gentle man like Noah. Thinking of him she felt a little lost again. Su Siji's appearance broke her peaceful life.